Hello, my name is Claude White, and this is Extreme Sports and World Views. And on the heels of the vice presidential debate that is coming up this evening, and also there'll be another presidential debate this Sunday, I have to say that Donald Trump has no business being president of the United States. I am more convinced of this, especially after the last debate. Why do I say that? Well, quite simply, folks, he's just not original. He is pulling out two different playbooks. He's pulling out the Rudy Giuliani playbook, and he's also pulling out a more sinister and more dangerous playbook, that of Ronald "666" Reagan. Now, it's very funny how people glossed over the fact, and to her credit, Hillary Clinton did call him out to task when he discussed his so-called economic plan. And his economic plan would be tax cuts for the very wealthy and the very rich, which obviously would be a trickle-down effect. So the more heavily taxed would be the middle class and the lower people, as far as on the financial scale. That is the very same plan that Ronald Reagan had when he was elected president way back when, in 1980. And it was called Reaganomics back then, which was a 30% or more tax cut for the rich, and all of the tax-heavy burden would be on the middle class, which in essence destroyed this country financially. Never mind the fact that both Franklin Delano Roosevelt, way back in the late 30s, and also finally finished off by Mr. Richard Tricky Dick Nixon, took us off the gold standard, which I digress, but I'll get to that a little bit later. Now, that so-called Reaganomics, along with his foolish Star Wars defense plan. Oh God, what an absolute pork belly plan that was. I mean, the millions and trillions of dollars that was wasted on that Star Wars defense plan, we're still hemorrhaging due to that. And notice, no one ever brings that up, by the way. Now, I also brought up his alleged girlfriend, Rudy Giuliani. And again, if you don't believe that they are in cahoots together, remember Rudy Giuliani also dressed up as a woman alongside Trump, accompanying him, being his date, which isn't all that far-fetched. And I understand that it is satire, but it's not that far from the truth. But again, I digress. Now notice when he was talking about the crime and everything that was going on in so-called our communities, he brought up the old law and order defense. Now, us New Yorkers know full well who the quote-unquote law and order mayor was for the city of New York. And that was one Rudolph Giuliani. That rebel rouser in Bensonhurst who caused hundreds of cops to destroy a hotel way back when he was fighting to become mayor of New York for a second time, going up against the incumbent mayor at that time, David Dinkins. He went on a bullhorn, went on a curse-laced tirade, and rabble-roused those cops into such a frenzy that they were throwing out TVs, they were causing disturbances, they destroyed property at this particular place. But was he ever brought up upon charges of that ilk? Absolutely not. And what happened? Poof. Over 300,000 votes were missing in Staten Island alone. And due to that margin, and in fact, that particular margin was the reason why Rudolph Giuliani became mayor of New York City way back when, in 1992. Now, that law and order thing, now in theory, that sounds great, but we already know what Rudy Giuliani stands for. That Stop and Frisk campaign, which was an absolute racist, antagonizing thing for our communities, will be brought back in a grand scale, in a much grander scale, under one Donald Trump. And we cannot allow that to happen. To have our civil liberties trampled upon like nothing would only fuel the fire for even more riots and more protests and more shootings out in these streets. But you cannot tell me that's not what this agenda of Rudy Giuliani is. Well, again, it's under the guise of Mr. Donald Trump. Listen, we cannot allow this to happen. Now, I'm not normally one of these guys to tell you, well, you should vote for so-and-so. Listen, you're a grown people. You vote for who you want to vote for. But keep in mind, a vote for Donald Trump is a vote for the Reagan/Giuliani eras. And those eras are much too dangerous for our communities. And remember, folks, there was no such thing as crack or a crack epidemic until Ronald Reagan got into office. Please like and subscribe. This is Extreme Sports and Worldviews. Take care and God bless.